Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video with Cadbury. There are a lot of firsts going on here. He's eating out of the bucket for grain, which is very exciting because soon then he'll be kind of like into the domestic horse program of getting his grain, getting some supplements, being able to get some better healthcare eating that, liking treats, all that kind of stuff. He's getting along great in the field. And so this is me going to catch him out in the field. I figured I'd show you how it can be sometimes interesting, however, still successful. And then he's going to be going into the arena for the very first time. And my husband came out to be able to film the whole thing. So you guys get to see basically the whole process of bringing a Mustang into something for the very first time. Totally new experience, including he's going to go over a pole for the first time and even go over a little bridge. So I'll show you guys that. So here I am trying to catch Cadbury, and things are going pretty good, but it's always a little tricky when the other horses are kind of there and bothering. And see how Alfie like nips him at the side? It's like, it's a tricky thing to do because if I shoo Alfie away too much, then I'm probably going to scare Cadbury, and I also didn't realize that he was going to reach out and actually nip at him. But it is one of the things that I talk about a lot with working with horses, is that you want to protect your herd of two. So when I'm getting Cadbury, I shouldn't be letting another horse hurt him in the process. And there you can see Alfie goes to nip at him again. So I'm like, okay, clearly I have to get them away from him. And they were like all happily grazing together. I shouldn't say grazing because they were eating hay, but they're happy together. However, they're still bossy over him. So this works out better where Stewie and Alfie go away. Alfie starts to come over to me and I shoo him away. So I can show Cadbury, look, I'll keep you safe. And then it's nice that Cadbury walks right up over to me after I get Alfie out of the way. And then I can work on, petting him and catching him and getting that under control. So I thought that was a good thing to show you guys, because catching horses, it's super important that we keep them safe. They need to feel safe in our presence. And so that was a little bit of a slip up on my part that Alfie got a nip in there. He wasn't caught yet. Like Cadbury was not caught by me, but I was in the process of trying to interact with him. And then another horse came in and spoiled the moment. But also kind of showing you a little bit too that horses interact with each other sometimes in a bossy way. Like Alfie wasn't being playful. He was just trying to boss him, being like, I'm, a boss over you. They were happily eating together. So he wasn't just being mean for the sake of being mean. But horses can act in big ways. And we've already seen in the previous video of Cadbury where to get out of the way of being bitten by Stewie, he jumps the hay bale, which is just kind of crazy that he can do that. Very athletic of him because it's a wide bale for sure. And so it's important that we do protect space and have boundaries, especially even here. Like there's a fair bit of space. There's definitely plenty of food. You can see that everywhere. So there's no argument over, they're fighting over getting the last little piece of hay or something like that. And so we just want to make sure that we have those boundaries established, and horses know to get out of your space if need be, because they resort to kicking and biting, those types of things. And we don't really want to be in that safety situation with them. It's an important piece for sure. So after I've caught Cadbury and pet him a little bit, then I go over and I open the gate to be able to take him out. And he kind of stands a little bit reluctant for a second, but just slowly works his way out. So this would technically be his second time out of the paddock, because the other video I showed you guys, I just walked him down this laneway there where I started there and essentially brought him back in. So this is the first I'm going to explore further than that. But to set it up for success, just with the way our farm is set up, I had my husband come out and shut the gate first. And then he is going to walk. He's actually walking backwards right now as he's filming. And I've sped this up ×2, so that way it's not quite as long of a video. But basically he's backing up to block the pathway that would go out towards the driveway and go out towards the road, because it is wintertime and gates are frozen in place. So the gates that I would normally shut, I can't, because everything's just so deep and so snowed in. So James is backing up and essentially blocking a little bit of that pathway. And you can see the gate there on your right. And I'm having James back up far enough because I know Cadbury is not so trusting of people that are not me. So I'm just having him back up far enough out of the way that he's not putting pressure on Cadbury. And the gate you can see there is the gate that I can't shut because it's very much frozen in spot. Got very snowed in. We've been getting a ton of snow when this was filmed and took place. And so I've opened up the door and he's going to kind of crouch in, and you can see that it goes from a big light difference there. There's the outside super bright reflecting off the snow light, and then into the arena it looks like you're walking into pitch black, which as your eyes adjust, it is not walking into pitch black, but that's just what it looks like. And your eyes do take several minutes to adjust, and same for horses. It takes them several minutes for their eyes to adjust from light to dark. So he's there just kind of sniffing and unsure, and I'm just kind of standing and politely holding the rope. And it doesn't take that long. I sped up that little bit of footage again just to try to not have it be ridiculously long for you guys. And then he's kind of sniffing, puts his head down. He's also looking at the fact that you go from snow onto a rubber mat. That's what we have as you enter the indoor arena, which is a totally new thing. I don't know if he's ever really crossed those before. Definitely not at my farm. He's just been on snow and when it's been dirt and stuff like that. So in he goes, and then James comes over and comes in, and so you can see us standing there. So it's not actually coming into pitch black darkness. And then James shuts the door, and then I'm like, all right, we're going to go into the arena. And whenever I'm working with horses, I try to prioritize, like, what is the main thing that I'm after for this session? And so the main thing for this session for me is exposing Cadbury to a new space and having a positive experience in a new space. It is not teaching him about being close to James, my husband, who is filming. I'm going to save that for a different session to work on letting other people come over to you. And so like there you can see how Cadbury did a little spook startle, and that's because my husband ended up behind his bum. Even though he's on the outside of the arena filming, it's still intimidating for him. So he's just kind of getting used to where we're at. So I take him to a space that's in the middle of the arena. There's lots of space around him, trying not to overwhelm him. Give him some pats and make sure he knows that this is familiar. Like, I touch you, I'm friendly, and nothing scary going on here. I can touch you on both sides. All is well in the world. And keep in mind, I am at this point, when this was filmed, super duper pregnant. I think I would have been only a couple weeks to go at this point before popping. And my videos are not always the timeline. It's not like I film the video and I post it the next day. So things are a little bit behind. And that just gives me time to, get the footage together. I've got lots of other stuff going on. So you might be thinking, really? You're still pregnant? You haven't popped yet? Well, I have popped, and I will share that in a different video, but I figured I'd keep sharing some of his progress with you guys and keep things a little bit in order. And so here I am skipping out some of the poop there, which is just exposing him to domestic life, everyday life, where you did a poop, I'm going to go scoop it up. And it gives me things to do where I'm not focused on him. I'm not like trying to push him around, drive him around. Because a lot of times when people train horses and train Mustangs, they start with driving them around, meaning they're like making them move this way, making them move that way, pushing them over here, pushing them over there. Like, it's a lot of pushing. Driving is essentially pushing a horse. And it is a good skill for a horse to learn, and he's got to learn all those things of how to move this body part and that body part away from me. But instead, I am focusing on asking him to follow me, and I'm not really pushing him around or doing anything. I'm just moving this pole, was going to get the poo. Now I'm walking over the pole and I'm asking him to just follow me. So I'm changing that storyline of I make you move, I make you move, I make you move, to I'm going, come with me. And it's definitely been a game changer in training And one of the things I love about the philosophy with harmony horsemanship and starting with the idea of calm connection and moving together is it really helps the horse get into this headspace of, that's my human and I go with them versus that's a human, oh dear, I better move my feet and get out of their way, all of those pieces, which can get them, a Mustang especially, a little bit flighty in the beginning. Uh, and then you have to work harder to build that connection to be able to do, let's say, liberty in an open space. But because of the way that I'm focusing on just, you can be with me, you can feel good in my space, let's do this together. It's really nice. It didn't take that long to get over the pole there. I find that the liberty work, meaning working with a horse with no tools, being able to put him out into a field with other horses and for him to still come and choose me, those things all tend to go better or go faster than if I started with the philosophy of driving him around. But there's going to be pros and cons to every training philosophy. So I'm not trying to say like you definitely have to do it this way, but this is the way that I prefer to work with my Mustangs. And it's been a learning process for sure over the several Mustangs that I've had the opportunity to work with and try different techniques and try different orders of doing things. And I've kind of found my groove of the way I like to do things. And it's been working really well. And you can see he goes from not knowing, and this is his very first time in the indoor arena, very first time being asked to go over the pole. And it took a little bit of, well, do I have to go over the pole? I can go around the pole, to pretty quickly realizing, oh, okay, I can walk over the pole, and does that really well. He doesn't want to stop with it behind his bum. And so all of these little things I'm paying attention to because it helps me know what are the things that we're going to be working on and what are the things that are hard for him. So I can tailor some exercises. But it's his very first time in the indoor arena. So we're not doing everything because remember the priority is to teach him that we can come into a new space, have a good experience. I'm still going to be friendly. And we're doing a few little things in the indoor arena just to try to help him realize that I'll ask him to try things or follow me and it will be okay. So here we turn around, we go the other way and he just walks right over. You can see how relaxed his steps look. This time he stops and his butt's a little closer to the pole. You can see his head's a little up and kind of thinking about that. And I allow time for processing where I'm just kind of standing there. Sometimes I'm rubbing him, trying to give him a little bit of affection, and then we move on and continue. So I try not to do things too quickly, and so here I'm just moving stuff around. Our arena is always different. I love that the coaches at our farm do lots of different exercises and they're constantly switching things up. It's super awesome that they're giving so much variety. And so this time there's like a pole and the little castle thing there. So I just moved it out of the way. I thought, okay, we'll try to do the bridge going in this particular way where it's widthways, meaning I'm not asking him to go over the narrow part and stay on a narrow target that's only, I think, maybe 4 feet wide. It's either, I can't remember, it's like somewhere between 3.5 to 4 feet wide. And so this is now sped up footage, so you can just kind of see what's going on. He does a lot of exploring. It's always easier to ask a horse to cross something if it's super wide. And by asking him to go this particular direction, it's, I think, 8 feet long. So it's 8 feet wide. He's got a lot of target to kind of play with. And you can see he does lots of like putting his little foot on it. Our cat Maple tries to, she's like, why aren't you focusing on me? She tries to get in there to get my husband's attention. And Cadbury's doing a lot of sniffing the bridge, putting a foot on the bridge. I'm doing nudging with the rope, and you can see me kind of, I pull and then I release when he's trying. And I'm essentially asking him to give it a go, asking him to follow. And then eventually he steps over a tiny little bit of the bridge and kind of comes around the corner. So we just kind of breathe. I'm like, okay, we're going to try that again. And my husband ended up coming into the inside of the indoor arena. So instead of standing on the outside of the rail, he came in because I thought, okay, what if, because he's so worried about my husband, what if my husband comes in and changes where he's standing? Because that's been an issue in the past. And so look what happens here when my husband moves And you can see he starts to get, my husband gets in a position that's more behind Cadbury, and he's still very far away. You can tell by the camera footage that he's many, many feet away from Cadbury, but just by him getting in a position that's more behind instead of in front, Cadbury walks right over, and then I can give him some scratches and reward, and then we do the same thing again, which you might be thinking, oh, your husband's standing a lot closer, but he just zoomed in so you could see better, and he tries to put his foot on it, he thinks about it, and I'm just politely nudging when he stops trying. So when he's thinking and he's putting his foot on it and he's exploring the bridge, I allow him to have all the time that he needs, and I just collect up the rope and he goes over so nicely there. So that was really, really nice, and you get to see a bit of the process of just kind of asking the horse to follow you over different things and allowing the time to think about it and come when they're ready. So the main thing is that when he's already thinking and trying and exploring that bridge, that I'm not asking for even more, because that could be really overwhelming, because this is all new and kind of scary stuff. So after we finish those couple little things, I'm like, okay, it's time to go back outside. Definitely when I am this pregnant, my bladder does not last very long. I've got to get back out and go to the bathroom because there's a baby squishing on my bladder. So I wanted to keep this session short and reasonable, where I've got to, by the time I walk outside, get my rope and everything, go get the horse, come in, do all of this, I don't want to get into something where he's going to need more time, because you saw it took patience at the bridge, it took patience at the pole, and if I get into something, I'm going to be in a situation where I can't just hand Cadbury off to somebody else to hold him while I go to the bathroom. So we got to keep this session short. So it's funny, all of the extra pieces that come with training when you are super big pregnant. There's these other little things to consider, like, okay, do you want to start something else, or are you going to end up having to go to the bathroom, and then what's going to happen then? So even though I wouldn't necessarily make the session like 2 hours long or something like that, if I wasn't super pregnant, I probably could have done more, like a little bit more, just following me around or exploring more of the arena. And then here I go to come out, and then I'm not sure if it's because he saw a cat out of the corner of his eye, or if it's because I was going to turn around and shut the door. I don't really know what was going on there, but he got overwhelmed and ran away. So I just calmly go and get him. I just had my husband stay kind of where he was. But here's the super important part, is that if they have a hard time with something, you don't want to leave them with that thought of, thank goodness I got away from that spot, because chances are the next time I'm going to go to do that, the next session, it's going to also be a bad experience, or he'll just have all that anxiety again. So what do? I take him over to the arena again. I'm like, okay, we're going to go walk in and walk out. But I'm pretty sure there was a cat that just kind of went by the door at the wrong time. And when they're learning, they're very flighty, because in fairness to them, they did live in the wild and they could have been eaten by a predator. So they want to run away. And it's something that we have to teach them, that there's stuff that's going to happen as a domestic horse. There's cats, there's dogs, there's chickens, and you're going to be okay. And it's just a thing that they have to learn. So we go out again and we just go slowly. And this time I don't try to stop. I'm like, I'm not going to turn you around and go shut the door. I go further away and I stop and I give him some scratches to make sure things are okay. And then we're going to continue on and go back into the field. So I also want to realize where I'm at, where I'm like, okay, got to go empty that bladder. So I could have done more turning around and going in and out of the door, or shut the door, things like that. But okay, we've gone in, we've gone out, we've stopped it, giving you some scratches. We are safe now to put you back in the field. And then I can go empty that watermelon pressed on bladder. So that way we can work on that the next time of turning around and shutting the door. But also it's very tricky in the winter because the paths are very, can only be so wide with all that snow. But super exciting for his first time in the indoor arena. Let me know what your favorite part was and if you learned anything along the way. Thanks for watching.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.